T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey guys, are you ready for breaking news? Breaking news. The fun's beginning once again. Phase 2 of free agency, I guess, is off to a fun little start, and the Buccaneers are up to their usual antics. They have restructured tackle Donovan Smith's contract, giving them the space to go ahead and sign Ndamukoing Suh. So, guys, Ndamukoing Suh is coming back. There's probably, you never know, guys. Any moment we could have more breaking news coming down the pipe. Who knows? I mean, these things tend to come in bunches, but you know, who knows? It's hard to tell. But we've got a cast of characters coming as usual, and let me start things off with, as we usually do here on Live from the Cheap Seats, special edition, breaking news edition. Let's start off with The Thing Is. All right, guys, the thing is, the Buccaneers are still moving forward. The thing is, you ain't done yet. The thing is, there's more coming. While there was sort of a little bit of a calm period there, while everything had sort of calmed down for a little while, and everybody in the chat rooms and all over the place seems like they were getting a little bit worked up. People were getting a little bit excited. People were starting to wonder what's going on. James White, AP, what the heck's going on? It seems like everybody is wanting to come home. Now, we don't have any news about AB. We don't have any news about Leonard Fournette right now. But we do have some news that I think is at least applicable. We have James White is re-signing with the Patriots. There's a signal there if you read, if you want to read the smoke signals, the tea leaves, whatever, if you want to read into that. I mean, you can't read into it, but you can kind of read into it if that makes any sense. You can at least look at it and say, well, okay, so the Bucs are not getting James White. That's not, James White waited around. He's made this decision. You can look at it and speculate a little bit and say, I wonder why James White did that. It seems like maybe the Buccaneers are sticking with their with maybe the band's coming back together, just like Tom Brady said. I know this. I'm not an expert when it comes to any of this. I'm just here having fun with you guys. And, I've spent some time on the sidelines. I've spent my time in the locker rooms. I've done all of that. But the experts, the guys who really know what they're doing, are the guys I get my information from here at Bucs Report, and I think they're absolutely brilliant. We got a couple of them coming by here today. We have Joshua Cole Allen, who will be coming by here as soon as he is ready, and we will have Peter Blake coming by also. Actually, Joshua is ready now. So let's bring Mr. Joshua Cole Allen, Mr. Breaking News, Mr. Bucs Report insider, Mr. Holy cow, man, you did it again. Last night on my show, you said, hey, man, keep an eye on Donovan Smith's contract. That could be happening at any time. And boom, what happens today? So once again, Joshua, you get it right. Once again, you did it. Talk to his brother. You're dead on money. Let me tell you, it's pretty exciting. I'm like, okay, good. Joshua's coming on now. I get to find out what's actually happening with the Bucs. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Doing great.
Oh, I mean, bevy of moves this morning. Before most people poured their cup of coffee, they're already waking up to news, and then it was consecutive right after another. I mean, we hear about Donovan Smith re-signing, we get the details, and then soon after we get the final details on that deal, boom, Suh's back in the building. Which is a little odd. We spoke about this the previous night in the cheap seats and last night. Suh's one to kind of wait, but with twins on the way, you think that once they open up that space, he wants to get something done so he can focus, clearly on, getting right for the season and being right mentally for his wife and the kids that are coming on the way. Because twins, whew, I couldn't imagine that. But congratulations to him and his family, because that's an amazing blessing. Children, they're great. They're an experience. So. But yeah, Donovan Smith, let's get into it. He had 1 year left on his deal. That was for $14.2 million. No guaranteed money. That was eat up the first 2 years of the 3-year extension that he signed. He signs on. I had him pegged at 2 years, $32 million extension. What did he come at? 2 years, 31.8. So I was kind of right on the money there. Way more guaranteed money than I thought. I had him at, I think, at 22 in my recent article. He came in at $30 million guaranteed. That he'll receive over these first 2 years, this year and next year. So his third year, I'm not sure what the guarantees look like on that, but that $30 million of it will come guaranteed with those 2 years. So pretty much the entire contract is guaranteed.
Right.
What he did was pretty much, it's a 3-year deal, including this year, added 2 more years on. There's also those lovely void years that they love to use. So there's 2 void years on top of that, which will allow them to spread the contract out throughout the signing bonus. So pretty much convert that entire $14.2 million salary that he was making this year into a bonus, stretch that out over the next 5 years of the deal. Opening up $10.6 million in cap room. They had about 1.2. My math is right. 10.6. It's $11.8 million available in cap room. And his cap hit, guys, is only $3.6 million. So that's where you get that $10.6 million opening up. So about $3.6 million. Most of these numbers are compliments of Sir Greg Allman of The Athletic, great friend of my show. Mentor to me. He's been great. But $3.6 million, 2 void years. The number here for Donovan Smith, he will make an unprecedented $57 million guaranteed over the 4 years of his contract, the last consecutive 4 years, starting when he signed the extension, going through until next year after that $30 million's up. $57 million for an offensive lineman over 4 years. Unprecedented, guaranteed money for a guy like him. Now the question here is, what Donovan Smith are we getting? Are we getting playoff Donovan Smith? Are we getting last year's Donovan Smith? Are we getting earlier in the season Donovan Smith? So hopefully with that money in the bank behind him, we'll get more of that playoff. I know other people are wondering that too. But
it's not just playoffs. I mean, the guy. It seems
down the road.
It seems like the first couple of games he struggled, and then after that, he was all that. I mean, he was just incredible after the first 4 games, something like that. He had a couple of games in the first 4 or 5 games that were horrifying, and then from then on, that guy was money. So, I mean, it seems like, I mean, Joshua, you said it coming in. Tom Brady seems to be able to know how to get the most out of players and get them motivated and get them to perform at a high level. And it just seems like he's yet another example of that happening. So, yeah. By the way, everybody, I want you to comment. Feel free to join us in the chat here that you see the comments and everything attached to the live stream you're watching. I'm also going to put up a link here that if you want to join us, you can join us live. You don't have to come on camera. There's a way when you follow that link, you'll be able to see that you don't have to come on camera, but we can at least hear your audio like a phone call coming in. And we do also have phone call. You can call in And that's fine with us also. If that's what you want to do, you can call.
Mhm.
You can join the conversation by calling 678-8255-263. So those are your options. And I just want to let you all know that there are ways for you to call in. We got lots to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
The boys are back. The band is back. We got a couple more to go.
Entire defense or starting defense will be back in the fold for this Buccaneers team.
The entire defense. When does that ever happen for any team on any year? I mean, that's insane. That really is insane. So, quick question for you: is there any shot we're going to hear more today, or are we probably done for the day?
Well, this all depends because obviously after Donovan Smith agreed to that, big 2-year, $31.8 million deal, opening up the $10.6 million in cap space, there was another signing. Another guy came back in the fold, and who we just talked about the entire defense being back. That's one, sir, Ndamukoing Suh. Ndamukoing Suh came back into the fold. His deal is a 1-year, $9 million deal with $1 million incentives that can push it to $10 million. Last year, he made $8 million, so he got a $1 million base raise. And our own Evan Winter actually wrote about this, got some backlash for it, suggesting that Ndamukoing Suh should be getting a pay increase. And, he got a pay increase this year. So good for him. I think he deserved it. I mean, 6 sacks in the regular season. And a lot of people are like, 6 sacks, that's not a lot. Well, you have to remember, once he went out, you have to double team Vita Vea. We all understand that. Like it's almost on every play.
Well, he's also not an edge rusher.
Well,
he is a tackle, so you're not going to get as many sacks.
Ndamukoing Suh plays different places along the line.
Absolutely, that's true. You see him pick off passes from time to time.
With Vita Vea, you have to get 3 hands on the guy, whether it's 2 hands and a check. You have to do that. Well, with him out, I mean, who's the guy? You got to do that to Ndamukoing Suh. So for him to be able to still get 6 sacks last season in a year that he almost looked a little bit more improved, more motivated than he did the year prior.
Right.
And then those big 1.5 sacks in the Super Bowl, a guy was dominant. Once you had Vita back, you saw the ability of him to really, take advantage of those one-on-one matchups and get to the quarterback. Him getting that raise is fine with me. I'm okay with it. The question becomes, Rick, and to follow up on your question, is this the last bit of news we'll see today? Are there any of those void years? Because if not, it's a 1-year straight to the hit, straight cap hit. $9 million. I said we were at $11.8 million minus 9 is $2.8 million left. So they have about $2.8 million left. That's probably going to cover the draft. But you got to remember, we have guys left to sign besides AB, besides Leonard Fournette. There's, Blaine Gabbert, Ross Cockrell, Josh Wells. There's a list of players that they could bring back. Ryan Smith. Obviously, Andrew Adams left. Ryan Griffin's another one.
Are there those contracts that you think are going to be restructuring? I mean, you'd think the tight end position, somebody's gonna have to.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's definitely somewhere to look at. But as far as let me just finish up on Suh real quick. As far as Suh, if there's void years on his contract,
right,
and if there's up to 2 void years, it would be roughly $3.7 million of a cap hit this year. So 11.8 minus 3.7 is 1. $8.1 million left available for the Buccaneers to play with. That could get your AB back. That might even get you Leonard Fournette back, depending on the way the contracts are structured. So those are some moves that they could make today, depending on what the details come out of Ndamukoing Suh's contract. As far as tight ends, we talked about this last night, didn't we? I mean, what's the number? 6.5 plus 6 plus what's Gronk making?
5.5 or something like that. Isn't
5, yeah, 5 on the books.
Yeah.
So we're talking 18?
Yeah. Yeah,
18 million,
about 18
almost
million.
$18 million for 3 tight ends.
Yeah.
Something's got to happen there.
Right.
Yeah. Something's definitely got to happen.
Yeah. That just seems like an awful lot. Somebody's going to have to restructure.
It's not going to go to Gronk. Gronk's done. I mean, it's not going to him. So we're looking at OJ making his 5th-year option at $6 million and Cam Brate. And Cam Brate has $6.8 million next year, $7.3 million the following year. Those are numbers you're not going to pay to your third.
When did the Bucs have to make a decision on exercising OJ's
option was exercised last year. This year the option will be on Vita Vea, and I believe because of snaps played and everything like that, due to injuries and everything, I think his is only like $7.8 million, which is a steal and a half shell.
Yeah, no joke.
Turtle power.
Yeah.
So they've got that won't have to be made until later this summer.
Right.
But as far as the tight end room, something's going to have to happen. Whether they're looking to trade a guy like Cam Brate. In my latest mock, they had him move to the Jets. Whether he goes to the Jets or a team like the Colts or a team like the Jaguars, one of those teams, or they just say, hey, we need to restructure your deal, and you need to take a lot less money if you want to stay around here. Not just this year, but next year. There's no way in my mind that they restructure a deal with what they're doing with some of these other guys, where they're pushing money in the future, because he's already at 6.8 and 7.3. If you take $4 million, let's say, make it easy for cap purposes, you say, hey, we're going to bring it down to $3 million, right?
Right.
So you turn that into a bonus. Now, for each year, the deal that's left this year, next year, the following year, you have to tack on $1 million to that. So his $3 million would really become $4 million for this year. His 6.8 would become 7.8, and his 7.3 would become 8.3. At no way, shape, form, time, whatever, do I want to play Cam Brate 7.8 or $8.3 million in the 2 following years after this one. Well, 4 is nice number for him this year, and still a little high. Looking over the broad scope of things, they can't do it.
Joshua, let me bring Peter Blake into this little party. How you doing, brother?
Did I buy tickets to the gun show? I didn't even know I didn't know it was free entry.
How you doing, man?
I'm at work. I'm doing good, man. I'm at work on my break, and lots of Bucs news to discuss. And the Bucs have definitely been busy today. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's been fun. This is kind of what we've been waiting for. There's always that lull, and then sort of there's a second wave of free agency. And is this sort of signaling the start of that? Is that sort of, Peter? What are you thinking?
No, I just think they had a plan all along. The Bucs as an organization, they knew what they were going to do. They were waiting out the Suh market, in my opinion. As soon as they got that done, or as soon as they got the Donovan Smith deal done, then they knew they could re-sign Suh. And now I would expect not only Suh to be re-signed, which he's already been re-signed, but also Leonard Fournette, simply because of what Mike Giardi of the NFL Network has reported. James White is going to be re-signing with the New England Patriots. And all we heard, boys, was the fact of, Leonard Fournette was looking at the Patriots, looking at other teams. Well, now Seattle's out, New England's out. So you would assume that they would be able to get him back. Of course, this goes back to the comments from Antonio Brown on Instagram, saying in so many words, let's both work it out together. So you would think that they're going to get those guys re-signed. And once again, the Bucs are going to bring back the majority of their players.
Yeah, it's crazy. Not just the majority, like the crazy, overwhelming majority.
Right. Well, to me, it's not really a surprise when you got a guy like a Tom Brady. That's the Brady effect. And then at the end of the day here, this is clearly the best situation in the National Football League. You're Super Bowl champions, you're world champions. That hasn't changed. And then on top of it, you have an organization led by the ownership of the Glazers that basically have come out and said, look, we're going to do whatever it takes, guys, whatever it takes to win right now with this window that you have with Tom Brady. And of course, Brady started it. The Bucs started it with the restructuring. It freed up money. You get your big 3 sign in Levante David, Chris Godwin, and of course the Shaq Barrett. And now you're moving the pieces all together, and it's all working in synergy, if you will.
Yeah, it just feels to me like there's such a we always hear #blessed. It's almost ridiculous because, to have this much go right for a team last year and then to be entering this year and it's all going down again. The way free agency is breaking, the way everything's happening, both of you guys, what do you guys think? This isn't normal. Even for the Patriots, they didn't always re-sign all their guys. They didn't get them all back. This is really just an amazing set of circumstances to be able to get the band back together.
Yeah, Joshua? Well, to me, it's Super Bowl or bust, like it was last year. I don't want to interrupt you, Josh. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You go first. I'm looking up something.
No, to me, it's Super Bowl or bust, like last March. And this team could actually be better. And Gronkowski even talked about in his presser the other day how he's going to be more familiar with the playbook.
Yeah.
You're going to have the off-season workouts there. You're also going to have preseason. So, we talked about it, how this team got off to a slow start at the beginning of the year. Now you're going to have all those functions in this offseason. So I feel like this team could actually be better. And then also the draft is coming up here in less than a month. So you're going to be able to add to that. And look, what you hear is with that Suh contract, free up another $10 million. So if they re-sign these players, that they don't actually add to it because players want to take less money. Maybe they take a one-year contract because of the reflection right now of free agency and because they want to chase the ring.
Yeah, Peter, that's exactly what I was saying. Is what you don't realize is there are people right now that you don't know are free agents. It's not like, okay, now we know who all the free agents are for the year. No, there's a draft coming up. There's a whole lot of people who are going to get drafted. That means there's a whole lot of space that's going to be made for those players that get drafted. There's another wave of people coming that we don't even know about yet, on top of who's already out there.
Sure.
And with a lower salary cap this year, the free agent market, this is not the year to be a free agent. And everything, it's yet one more break for the Bucs. I mean, it's just crazy how everything has gone down, and you end up with, you're able to re-sign all these guys. Yeah. I mean, the Patriots for years, people came and people went, and that's just how it, they continued to succeed, continue to be successful. The Bucs, I don't think it's that they can be better. I don't see how they're not going to be better with 1 year together under their belt, plus an offseason together, plus the new and improved players coming in on top, the depth that you're adding. This is insane. Joshua, when it comes to players you think that maybe, not even just on the Bucs, but let's just look out there, project, throw something against the wall reasonably. I don't need specific names, but are we looking at, are there going to be players getting cut just because the salary cap is lower and teams are having to do what you got to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially after the draft comes, I think you're going to see a small wave of veterans being cut once these positions are filled with cost-controlled talent. So there still could be players being cut soon. We've seen some. Kyle Fuller was just cut over the weekend. I mean, if teams want to get a guy and their asking price is this, and they only have this, and they like the player X better than player Y, but they need to cut player X so they can get player Y. I mean, that can. You'll see that happen. I mean,
well, flash back to my first day on Bucs Report last year was cut down day, and it wasn't even prepared. I was sitting on the couch, watching TV, following Twitter, and then basically I got a call saying, "Okay, go live and talk about this." And now I ended up going live, and I remember what a big deal last year. I remember what a huge deal cut day was.
Yep.
And I'm it's going to be that way again this year. And so we don't even know what's coming. And that's the fun part of this, is like we're going to be better right now if nothing changes. We will be better this year as a team than we were last year.
Yeah.
And on top of all of it, we ain't done yet. I mean, that's kind of fun behind all of it. Let me bring Johnny Dean, the professor, into this. Hey, Johnny, how you doing, brother?
How's it going, guys?
Good. Sneak a miscreant in here. Ready to cause some trouble?
I don't need trouble today, man. This is such a great day right now.
It's unbelievable. It is unstinking believable. I mean, who I never imagined. Absolutely never imagined that something like this.
I'm going to have to get with Joshua and start learning how to speak Bostonian, man, because I think I'm becoming an honorary Bostonian.
Hey, it takes time, guy.
What's that? Oh, yeah. It's out there, though, guys. I'm going to bring this up because it's one of the segments we do all the time on Live from the Cheap Seats. I have to bring this up.
Stupid Bucs fans say.
All right, I got to bring this up because it's already starting. It's already starting out there. Not a fan of the Smith extension. And people saying he's not good. Smith is no good. It's already starting. And that's guys, let me start with you, Joshua. Help people understand why this is, Donovan Smith is not bad, stop thinking it.
I'll give you one word. Trent Williams. Or maybe that's 2 words. Or maybe that's not even a word. It's a name. Trent Williams. He just signed for $20 million. You're getting Donovan Smith for 15.9. I mean, an annual average, and not even annual average, because if we count it as a 3-year deal, 31.8 plus 14.2 divided by 3 equals. Hold on, that didn't work out.
I feel like I'm in math class while you're figuring that out, Peter. While Josh was figuring that out, Peter. What? I mean, what?
15.3 average.
Okay, there we go.
I mean, 50. You're getting a starting left tackle for $15 million.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's insane. But I mean, if he's not a good one, then you're getting ripped off. If he's good, you're getting a deal. Why are we getting a deal, Peter?
Well, you're getting a deal because if you keep it in perspective, last year one of the main questions was this offensive line, namely is Smith, and look, he may not be the biggest fan favorite, but you would have to agree with watching him on film throughout the season. He got better and better, and he wasn't one of those big time question marks anymore with his level of play. On top of it, you have Gronkowski going back there, who helped him out on the left side, who helped out a Tristan Wirfs on the right side. So I feel like that's not one of your big time question marks anymore, which is kind of different because once again, if you look, I can believe anything, and I'll tell you why. I get it. We keep on going back to it, and we keep on beating this horse until it's dead. It's the Tom Brady effect. He absolutely makes every player around this team better, and Donovan Smith is better for it. And you look at Donovan Smith right now, they got him wrapped up for the next 2 years. I think this offensive line coming back together, sustaining no losses, 3 years, sustaining no losses. The next 2 years, it's going to be about $57 million. But he's worth it the way he played, the level of play of this offensive line overall. And you could see them shutting down teams like the Saints, shutting down teams like the Packers who have pass rushers on the outside, shutting down a team like the Kansas City Chiefs with a Frank Clark and a Chris Jones. You didn't hear anything from them. And that was one of the biggest question marks from last year. Picking up a Tom Brady who's 43 years old, is going to be 44 in August. You have to protect him. You have to keep the pressure off of him. You have to alleviate the injury. And that's exactly what Donovan Smith and the rest of this offensive line did. So Bucs fans should be absolutely thrilled that not only you're going to be able to bring back the majority of the players, but you have the offensive line intact. Consistency is the key, and that's exactly what this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team has done in this offseason and the last 2 off seasons.
Yeah, Ronnie Carter, I think Ronnie Card's right when he says Bucs take the South this year. I think it's theirs to take. I mean, it really is theirs to take. I mean, it's theirs to lose. It's basically what it comes down to. I think they are by far the prohibitive favorites going into it. And the funny part of all of it is that the Bucs have and I love flashing this symbol at the camera, second place schedule. Going
it's going to go up because it's going to go up to 4th with the addition of the 17th game in the Colts, but still,
just second in the division is what I'm saying. They have a second place.
Oh yes.
They have a second.
Well, they did have the second easiest schedule going into the next year.
No, not second easiest. I'm saying they have a second place schedule. The Saints are playing against the first place schedule next year because the Saints won the division, and that's how the schedules are decided. They did have the second
easiest schedule going into next year.
That's insane.
But because they're playing the Colts now, it bumps up to the fourth
easiest schedule.
Based on strength of schedule of this past season.
A long time, guys. It's every year the NFL odds makers have been just beating the tar out of the Buccaneers year after year after year. Everything we talk about, it's like, oh, by the way, here's another break for the Bucs. Oh, by the way, here's another break for the Bucs. And this
another
is
break for the Bucs. Alex Anzalone.
Well,
break for the Bucs. Alex Anzalone just signed with the Lions, so they are down 2 starting linebackers with Quan Alexander and Alex Anzalone for the Saints. So
that's breaking my heart. What'd you say, Johnny?
You can take that a step farther and think about how the pieces fell into place for Fournette too, with James White re-signing.
No, that's what
and Seattle getting their running back.
Yes,
it's like Brady magic all over the place, man.
There's no doubt in my mind that when you look at what's happened with the Bucs, listen, man, there have been so many bad breaks over the years. Freaking MRSA, there's one thing after another, another. Yeah, coaches backing out after agreeing to be the head coach and then backing out at the last minute. Offensive coordinators having heart issues after, they signed with the team 2 weeks later, have heart issues, and then you're just grabbing somebody from Publix, the bag boy from Publix to be your offensive coordinator. I mean, you're sent scrambling. This is what the Buccaneers have faced year after year after year. And if you've been a Buccaneers fan for any length of time, like Johnny, Peter, you, me, we've watched the horror year after year after year of things that are they're almost unexplainable and out of your control. And what's funny is now all of those things that are happening that are not explainable and are out of our control are going perfectly. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's bizarre.
Well,
I have to say, Peter, your Super Bowl or bust this year is quite literal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Johnny's on board.
Telling you, man.
Now Johnny's on board.
I think we all have to be on board at this point, guys, because it's preparation by this organization. It starts from the top down, right? A bad organization, bad ownership. The Glazers have done everything they need to do to bring every player back because they put out the finances. Mike Greenberg and Jason Light, they said, we got a plan. We're going to restructure this. We're going to do this. It's all going to work out. And then you got players like a Tom Brady who unselfishly did a restructure. You have Levante David who took less money on the cap this year. You have players that are buying into it, and it's all coming together right before our eyes. And what a difference a year makes, guys. I mean, really, there was a lot of questions.
No. Well, to be fair, too, these as Bruce Arians said, these players aren't taking any less. They're just getting the money up front, and the Bucs are kicking it down to the point where between Brady, David, Barrett, Gronk, and Smith, and we'll wait to see if Suh has any void years, they've added $77 million in void years.
But think about the jerseys that they made. Think about the jersey sales before Brady even signed. Okay, before Brady even signed, they came out with new uniforms, and Buccaneer jersey sales and Buccaneer merchandise and everything exploded because they announced the big news for the year: we're going to have new uniforms. Okay, and then by the way, Tom Brady signed. You got to remember,
a lot of people took their money too for their tickets, and they pushed it out to next year. So they had that money basically in escrow to use. But like I was saying, Brady, David, Barrett, Gronk, Smith, and we'll find out on Suh. They paid out $77 million in bonuses this year, 24 of which will go towards the cap this year. 53 the next following 2 years.
But when you start to think, okay, wow, they're putting all this money in, and then you realize the team's worth $2.5 billion. They just signed a new television contract, okay, which is worth, a gazillion bucks in and of itself, and that's only going to go up. I mean, what I promise you, during the course of that television contract, it's going to morph and move and change and become different and evolve. I mean, that's what's going to happen. It happened this time when they started this TV contract. There was nothing on Amazon. There was nothing on. I mean, if you remember, it was only on NFL Network on Thursday nights. And look at how that changed. Everything changes and evolves as it goes along, and you're going to see it again. So the amount of money coming in is staggering. And when people say, oh yeah, the Bucs are just kicking this problem down the road like New Orleans, no, they're not, because there's a bubble of money that's about to hit these teams. And so they're not putting themselves in a bad position. I mean, again,
I appreciate that. I appreciate the time here, guys. I got to run.
Okay.
But tune into the over-under tonight with my professional handicapper, Mr. Harry the Greek, of course. Tampa Bay, Ray Kennedy, best of the Bay, starting at 9 o'clock live here on Bucs Report. I'm your host, Peter Blake. Do three things for me before I get out of here. You ready? The Bucs are still Super Bowl champions and world champions. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'll see you later, guys. Keep on killing it.
Have a good one. All right, awesome. So, yeah, to me, guys, as I watch, it's funny. how everything they're kicking. What they're doing is they're kicking these salaries right into the bubble of money, so they'll be able to weather that storm.
Not only that, you got 2 drafts with these players still attached to the team, and,
Right.
and to bolster everything that's going to be lost.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's going to be bolstered through the draft. What's going to hurt is everybody's attachment to the team now.
Yeah.
And when those rookie contracts that they're on now come up, there's going to be some money spent there also.
Well, I made the comment, Johnny, last night on the show. I think you were still there. The bottom line is this. This is what I find funny is that while, I mean, there are teams, and every Buccaneers fan, there's somewhat we need to prepare ourselves because, listen, guys.
Exactly.
When there are so many good players and you're adding brand new rookies that they're going to come into practice and the coaches are going to say, wow, well, this guy's good. Names we're used to are going to start getting cut.
Yeah, and those guys are going to start making big money, and there's no way to keep them all on the team, man.
Yeah, but even it's not just that. It's just when you keep adding depth and you keep adding depth, eventually a new guy, they're going to look at it and go, you know, they're basically the same quality, and this guy's on a rookie contract, and this guy's on a, you know, I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, at some point, it's not just we're just cutting him because of money. At some point, you've got the depth to do it, and that's what I think is fans need to prepare themselves. And when I close this thing out in a little while here, I've got something on my heart. I'm going to lay it all out there. It's sort of we were joking, calling them Rick's rants before, and it's. I mean, I want to talk to the fans about this, and so hang around, guys. But I got something to sort of really discuss regarding all of this, regarding the fact that we've been spoiled over the last 12 months, you know, as fans, while the world has gone to chaos. What stability, strength, talent, everything perfect about the Bucs has taken place.
Well, I'm not putting that second trophy on the shelf just yet because you still have to play the games. Anything can happen. Look what happened to San Francisco.
Well, that's part of what I want to talk about. And like when you were saying Super Bowl or bust,
that's what I'm saying. The team is actually all in for a Super Bowl or bust right now.
Yes, I'm with you. The team's all in for the Super Bowl. I hate the phrase Super Bowl or bust, but I get the sentiment. I understand the sentiment. It's the phrase that I get tripped up on. But the point is there. The Super Bowl is the goal, period. And that is the goal. But I think we've got to, keep our heads together and understand this. And the problem is what we're doing is we're setting up everybody. I don't want to set people up, and then if you don't win the Super Bowl, but doggone it, you lose the Super Bowl, or some team on a hot streak, everything's clicking, you struggle in the NFC Championship
game next year,
right? Everybody flips out, right? And it's like, yeah. And I'll talk about this in my little rant at the end of this, but the bottom line is, guys, we got so much to be happy about. Listen, man, look what just happened. The breaking news of the day is this. All right, there's our breaking news sound. Listen, Donovan Smith, and he's good whether you want to admit it or not. Okay, I understand the criticism. He earned all of that criticism, but he's also earned the fact that, okay, this guy stepped up. This guy didn't just play good. This guy played freaking phenomenal. Wasn't Chase Young wasn't he the one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Chase who? He didn't even show up in the stat line. Let me say it again. Chase Young of Washington in the playoffs didn't even show up in the stat line. One more time. Chase Young didn't even show up as though he played. Imagine playing a game where you're leaving your blood, your sweat, your tears, you're leaving everything on that field. You're beat, you got the crap beat out of you for 60 minutes and you're out there playing hard. You lose the game and you don't even show up on the stat line. The only stat line he was on was minutes played. That's it. And that's because of Donovan Smith. Chase Young didn't even show up on the stat line. That means no tackles. That means no pressures. That means no sacks. That means nothing. Zilch. Nada. He had nothing because of Donovan Smith. So when you get upset about Donovan Smith and when you start saying, oh, no, I don't like this re-signing. Oh, no, we re-signed the bum. No, we did not. We re-signed one heck of an offensive lineman. All right. And he proved it wrong. He proved me wrong. He proved you wrong out there. He proved some of us wrong. The bottom line is the Bucs are back. The band is coming back together. The entire defense is back together. Hallelujah. This is going to be fun.
Next question. Who signs next? AB or Fournette?
I think Fournette.
You think AB will be the last man out?
Yeah, I think Fournette's going to be. I mean, AB's going to be last, and I don't think there's any particular reason. Don't read into it. There's no tea leaves there.
I'm not reading into anything.
Not you. I'm saying to people in general. It's a matter of somebody's going to read into that. They barely re-signed AB. Somebody's going to say that just because he was the last of the group. I mean, that's how it's going to work. But I mean, people like to read into all kinds of things. And AB, in the meantime, maybe just the
excitement from this day stems from the fact that we've all been just waiting to see what happens.
This was the last guy. This was the last one that really mattered to me. Yes. This was the one.
The defense is intact.
Yeah.
I mean, you just look at that lineup of defensive players we have now.
I mean,
including the rookies. I mean, come on.
And we're adding new ones,
Yes.
We're adding new ones. So I look at this and I just am like, oh my God, this is no joke, man. No joke. This is the real freaking deal. I mean, we're looking at something special. Who is the last team? And I'm not talking just the Bucs. I'm talking any team ever since free agency has started, ever, that you saw everybody come back, especially a Super Bowl team. Especially a Super Bowl team. It doesn't happen. You don't get your players back after you win a Super Bowl. It does not happen, folks. Realize this is when the team wins the Super Bowl, it's time for the players to cash in. And
I believe that the 85 Bears may have had at least 75% of their team come back.
Yeah, 75%. That's awesome. 100% of the defense is back. Think about that.
I said team. I didn't say defense. I think all their defense came back.
No, did they? Did they all?
Yeah.
Was that before free agency?
They lost a couple of free agency wasn't that big a deal back then either. I mean,
right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. All right, hold on. We got Joshua back. Hey, brother. Hey, Joshua.
I hear his mic. He's not hearing us.
Nope, he's not hearing us. I'll put him back in the lobby and he can he'll get there. He'll get clicking away. That's that was again. It was like last night where it's like you're talking to the guy in Baghdad and you have to wait 10 seconds and then
yeah. I know Twitter's been blowing up today, man.
Well, this is a big day. I mean, it really is. It
was a great way to wake up in the morning. I'll tell you that, man.
Live from Baghdad, Joshua Cole Allen.
Sorry, I'm over here like, why can't I hear myself? And then I remember that I turned the volume all the way down. I'm over here like, what can I do?
What's the name of your show again? What's the name of your show again, Joshua?
It's The Audible.
All right.
Just go like that, right?
I had to hear him say it, man. I had to hear him say it.
I wanted to go back into some of these comments, Rick, if that's all right with you.
Yeah. Feel free to bring them up if you want.
I don't know. I can't click them because I'm just a guest on the show. But Misador,
okay.
Misador back at 1:07 p.m.
Okay. I'll get there. Go ahead, but go ahead and
So it was thought roughly $7 million was needed to cover the draft. With the draft, it's so a lot of these players that are drafted, they're going to push other players down the line on the contract. So the NFL has a top 51 rule. So the top 51 players on the team, their contracts count. So when you bring in a new player, whoever's in that 53rd, that 51 spot, so they just re-signed Suh, right? So whoever's in that 51 spot now, because Suh was a free agent, now moves to 52. So the contracts move down the line as soon as someone's drafted. And with the draft class, that's going to happen like that too. So these salaries are going to drop off, and especially that's why whenever we talk about cuts at training camp, so they have players on the practice squad making $660,000. Once they get cut, all those players will drop off. So I mean, it's a 90-player roster. You only keep 53 men on the roster. So I mean, let's just pretend that what is it? I've been doing a lot of math. So 33 players, right? And
Right.
then making $660K. There's going to open up like, 2 million, I don't know, something like it's going to open up a few $1 million, so
Right.
whatever,
Well,
whoever's on that.
Explain to me when do you actually have to be under the cap?
Under the cap,
and hold on, what's the penalty if you're not?
Ask Jerry Jones.
yeah, under the cap, you have to be under the cap starting the new league year. You have to be under the cap, and any contract moves you make need to be able to be made to keep you under the salary cap. You are not allowed to complete a contract or anything like that without going over the cap. All teams must be cap compliant by then. If not, I'm not really sure. Maybe
probably
fines,
the league won't approve the contract. So
exactly.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
So you can't go over for a day or two and then readjust or anything.
Not unless there's some extension that the league has given you for whatever reason.
Right.
The next comment I want to get down to was a Smilegate right after that.
Okay.
No, you can't cut Golston. You don't have anyone to replace him. The whole thing is to bring everybody back to go for two and bring the team, all the starters back. Golston's a huge part of that. He's an underrated guy. He is, as he said himself during the Super Bowl week when I asked him, he's a lunch pail type of player. He's a bring your pail to work and go get the job done, not get the recognition, but do the dirty work. I can see them approaching him about possibly converting some of his salary. He's due to make $5.5 million and converting that into 3.5 with $2 million to incentives. Cam Brate, we've talked about ad nauseum. He needs to either get cut or rip up his contract and redo a whole new one.
Right. Cam Brate's a lot like Golson, though. He's the guy who brings his lunch pail to work and just shows up and does the work.
Exactly.
That's why he's.
That's why he's tight end, Johnny. You can't pay him $6.5 million.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying that they will do something with his contract because they've already shown the fact that after years and years of Bucs fans talking about we need to trade Cam, we need to trade. They're not going to do it, dude. It's. And I believe they get rid. I believe they'd get rid of Howard's contract before Cam.
Yeah, right. And then the very next one kind of goes to that from Isidore. No tight end can restructure their deal. Howard cannot restructure his deal. Howard needs to be extended, then restructured. Brate can restructure his deal, but with restructuring his deal, we talked about exactly what they've been doing is converting salary into signing bonuses and then stretching the signing bonus out over the life of the contract. And I touched on that. I mean, if you did the $3 million and bump him from 6.5 to 4, but then it'd bump his next year's up to 7.8 and 8.3, and that's just not something I feel comfortable. I don't think anyone should feel comfortable playing Cam Brate to be a potential number 3. Even if Howard does leave next year, still a number 2. That's a lot of money.
Maybe you can answer this question. How many fifth-year options are out there right now?
For the Buccaneers?
Yeah. I don't think we don't have anybody signed on a fifth-year option right now, do we?
O.J. Howard. O.J. Howard is playing under his sixth-year his fifth-year option at $6 million even.
So he could be traded.
He could be traded, but I think they want to see what this team looks like with him out there. Remember, I mean, Bruce Arians was preaching 12 personnel before the season started. And once O.J. Howard went down, you can't really use Cam Brate in that personnel as much as you'd like to because you can't block, And you saw them throw in Anthony O'Clair early in the season and then Tanner Hudson. But Tanner Hudson's not the guy. He's not – he might be a number 3 tight end if they move
Did they just re-sign Tanner Hudson?
He was an exclusive rights free agent, and everyone doesn't know who that is. It's I know you do, Johnny, but exclusive rights free agent is pretty much like an undrafted player that you signed or that someone else has signed and then you picked up. He's got no choice but to sign with the Buccaneers or play. And that was the same with Pat O'Connor, Jeremiah Ledbetter, and Zach China, the long snapper. All of them exclusive rights free agents. They had no choice but to sign.
Okay.
Where else? There was another one I wanted to see answer to. Sorry about. Oh yeah, Misador. I read if Tampa restructures Jensen, he could alone open up $3.5 million, and that's the thing I think Rick you were alluding to earlier that they're not done with the
Right.
restructures and extensions.
Right.
This is the next guy up. In my mind, if you're keeping Donovan Smith, and obviously Trishan is locked up, you have Ali Marpet locked up 2 more years. The next logical step is to lock up Ryan Jensen. One of the best centers in the league, graded out as one of the best centers in the league. The way they can restructure his cap hit depends on the contract. They can open up a heck of a lot more than $3.5 million. And one of my recent things, I had them opening up $6 million easily, giving him 2-year, $22 million extension, which gives him a $1 million raise. Still puts him at $11 million, which is, it's a lot for an offensive lineman, but not if you compare it to some of the other deals. I think he's earned it. He's a heck of a player. They could go to the draft, though, and look at a guy like Quinn Marinez, the guy from Wisconsin Whitewater that everyone's falling in love with, and maybe replace him next year. But I think with Tom Brady here, you don't want to shuffle that line that much.
Yeah, you don't want to put a rookie on the line with Tristan Wirfs. I'm kidding. I'm bringing that. I'm laughing about it because you're right.
Is different,
right.
And,
got to teach him how to power up his butt and
it looks like Alex Cap is probably gone. Alex Cap is probably going to be gone next year anyway. Right. So do you really want to replace 2 offensive linemen? I'm not sure they do. They still have ample cap space. Why do you think
Alex is going to be gone?
It depends on what he's going to ask for a contract. He's going into free agency, and a lot of people are like, oh, why haven't they extended him? Why haven't they restructured him or anything like that? He's only making like $2.7 million, so you're not going to touch that contract if you don't have to. If you're going to if you re-sign Alex Cappa now, he's going to be a lot more than that against the cap and a lot more dollars. So
but
that's
he is a free agent this year.
Yeah, we have him, Whitehead, Carlton Davis, and Ryan Jensen if he's not restructured, along with Golston, Rojo, OJ Howard. There's a long list of free agents next year.
No, next year. You're talking next year.
Next year, yeah.
Next year, yeah. This year. No. Kappa's coming back. He's coming back
right,
last year.
Okay, see that's. I think Johnny and I got confused. I thought you were saying he's.
Well, I'm just saying he's going to be a free agent. So if you don't re-sign Jensen, now you're replacing 2 players on your offensive line instead of 1. But I think Jensen will get locked up long term. He likes it here. They like him a lot. He's improved steadily. You saw his penalties go way down, and he's the type of guy who I love watching film of him, and Johnny can attest to this too, I'm sure, watching him go back to the huddle and just bump into any defensive player he can on the way just to start a little bit. I think that me and Johnny talked about that before. But obviously there's other guys too in the restructure category. I know everyone's talked about Mike Evans because he came out publicly and said it. Ali Marpet, you got to thank him already because if he didn't restructure midseason, Antonio Brown's not here, and he filled in admirably for some of those injuries, and was just a great part of that team as well. So, there's definitely ways to make more cap room, and like I said, they're going to need it. They got draft picks, they got AB, they got potentially Leonard Fournette, they have their backup quarterbacks, backup offensive linemen still that need to be re-signed. Just bringing in outside free agents too, because you always want to bring in some outside guys as well as maintain. You need to get new blood, fresh blood, especially if there's someone who's a little bit younger that you can kind of develop. I'm looking at a guy like possibly Landon Roberts, maybe a linebacker. Maybe you bring in a Rex Burkhead still, even if you bring back Lenny. Yeah. To give you a true pass catcher.
Yeah, I want to address something Russell Weeks just said here. He said, I believe all these guys know and can do a team-friendly deal and can win, then get paid bigger money next year when the cap goes back to normal. Here's the thing. That's all sounds good. And everybody, I always hear, where's the loyalty? Or I hear things like that. Listen, man, the team's not loyal to them. If it's good for the team's going to cut them. Okay? Everybody has to look out for themselves. The team has to look out for themselves. That's how this works. You don't sign a team-friendly deal because you want to win again. When you won a Super Bowl, that's when you generally cash in. Next year, let's say they win a second one in a row. Then what do you say? Then do you say, well, now, okay, they've gotten 2. Now they're going to go ahead and want to get their money? I mean, what's the number that you have to win to where you tell these guys, go get your money? I get it. This is a bad year to be a free agent. I've said it before, supply and demand. Yep. This is a bad year to be a free agent. When it comes to the supply of free agent money, there's not that much. So
But it's
the
a great year to
demand
be a junior
is
in
lower.
college.
Yeah, it's a great year to be a junior in college because, well, I don't know, because the rookie contracts are also pretty much slotted. So I don't know if that's the truth.
Well, I'm just talking about how the draft this year is just getting
Yeah.
pushed up because just lack of people out there that
Yeah.
are NFL quality at all.
It's a last. Here's the thing.
It's not a
This
good
year,
draft.
next year is the year to be a free agent. You want this to be your contract year. If this is your contract year, you just hit the jackpot.
And to make, I mean, if you look at the contracts, I mean, Gronk was always going to sign a 1-year deal, and he's going to take a year at a time. I think Suh is kind of in that same boat where there was talk that he might retire, and he came out and took a couple of weeks and said, "Hey, I definitely want to play again. I'm not going to retire." AB is a different scenario there if we're talking about him, and maybe Leonard Fournette. The money might be bigger for both of those guys next year, especially if they can continue to reform their image. That Leonard Fournette's a team guy. AB can stay out of trouble. Everybody else they've signed has been on longer-term deals. There's really no one that's been on a one-term deal, unless you count Godwin on that franchise tag, that we didn't expect to be a 1-year deal. Unless there's free agents, maybe.
When this show came on, I was in the process of writing an article about 1-year deals around the league, and is it going to become a trend?
I don't know that that's the case because people are going to want their guaranteed money, and next year you'll be able to get it. I just think people are setting themselves up for next year when all the money is available. Well, yeah, that's what's happening.
Well, and Johnny alluded to it too, that we'll probably see a lot more signings, after the draft. And Rick, you alluded to the fact that we'll see veteran players cut after the draft. Those guys are gonna come on, and those are the guys. So I don't know if Russell was referring to players outside of our team that we cover here with the Buccaneers, but around the league, you're going to see an influx of players sign those 1-year deals, not team friendly, but shorter money deals, just so they can get back out of the market next year. I don't think that happens necessarily with any of these Bucs guys. Besides AB and Fournette. I mean,
here's where I think it comes in. Here's where I think it plays in. Is I think you're right. It doesn't, that in and of itself. Follow along with me here, guys. I don't think that in and of itself impacts the Bucs in a big way. But I think other teams are going to be cutting players, and they're going to be releasing some very good players who are then going to say, well, if I'm going to sign 1 year, let's go get a ring. And that's where you're going to have players that are really good that are all of a sudden going to be knocking on the door at $1 saying, hey, guys, I'm here. Well, you're going to be able to, and you're going to be able to sign. Hold on, Johnny. You're going to be able to bring those guys in, and that's when people, maybe people we're kind of used to who are making a lot more money, maybe guys we're used to, and guys we've grown comfortable with, names we've sort of grown an attachment to, when those guys might start going away, and that's something we have to understand may happen, especially with the massive influx. I think. Massive is relative. Big influx of people, of valuable, still talented players around the league that are going to get released.
Well, there's multiple players that have been coming out saying that they think that they're just going to sign 1-year deals from now on because they like that. They like to have the freedom to test the team, basically. See if the team is what they want, where their fit is. And first
guy that gets his knee blown out and his career ended, that changes.
Yeah, well, they don't look that far forward. It's football, man.
No, they will. Their agents do, and they hear that. You hear all the time. Guys want more guaranteed money. They want more years. They want They want that. Somebody's gonna pay the price dearly, and that whole trend will change. The agents will be saying, hey, you see what happened to this guy? I mean, that'll change.
You guys understand, too, those 1-year deals also benefit the teams themselves. So that it might become a trend just because it's so beneficial to a team.
Yeah, I don't think that's a long-term trend. I think in the long term, you're going to see it swing more like basketball has and baseball has because, listen, and it's my opinion that the president of the Players Association is awful. I think he's done a terrible job for the players, but good for the league, good for you and me as a fan. Hooray. It's made it more fun. but that guy's not going to be around forever. And
Yeah.
I don't think the next guy coming in after what's his name, Demarius Smith. I don't think the next guy coming in is going to be maybe quite as cooperative and friendly and nice.
I don't think it's going to be a trend among younger players, not the people coming off their first rookie contract. No, I don't believe that. What I'm saying is the older, like on their second contracts or third contracts, these guys, depending on how long their first contract was.
Like I said, till somebody gets a knee blown out. What were you saying, Joshua?
Just to the point, and then I have to dip out of here, but just to the point where you made, where guys might be knocking on the door and saying, I'll come play. You also have to think they are bringing back their entire defense, and if they bring back Leonard Fournette and AB, their entire offense. So the guys that might come in here on shorter money are very limited to spots, and those spots are backup safety, backup edge rusher, where they could maybe see 30% of the snaps, backup cornerback, and defensive tackle. And that's not including what they could potentially do in the draft.
Unless they cut somebody and someone else picks them up.
Exactly. Unless it's a Will Golston and they're like, okay, we're going to let Will Golston go and bring up,
somebody from some other team that got released. That's what I'm saying.
Better, but that's the only way you're going to see. But I don't think they do that. I think that they stick with their starters in place. And I think the biggest position to watch right now, obviously, is backup running back. They're going to bring a veteran in, even if they bring in Leonard Fournette. I think they still bring one more veteran and they go into tax.
McCoy is gone, correct?
McCoy is gone. Right. So you'd have Rojo. Right now you have Rojo and Vaughn as the only guys. You'd have Leonard Fournette. And then you'd have a rookie, and then you'd probably have another veteran.
Guys, whoever you realize, pretend for a moment, roll with me for just a minute. The Bucs draft, just for the heck of it, I don't know, Najee Harris, okay?
Love it.
All right, the Bucs get Najee Harris. What are they? Somebody's gone, guys.
No, that just means that he's almost takes a redshirt year because Rojo and Vaughn are both gone next year. So then not Vaughn, Rojo and Fournette are both gone next year if they're on one-year deals.
I think you would see Rojo gone for a fourth or fifth of it, like a fifth round pick or something like that.
That's also a potential possibility.
Right. That's what I think you'd see happen. So that's why I'm saying, guys, there are players we may be used to, names we've grown to love, names, whatever, that listen, man, this is the beauty of being this good, and having this kind of depth. I mean, it's going to happen. The team's going to change. The team's going to continue to get better by evolving.
I'm going to write an article on that.
Yeah, that's
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, sure. That's the reality.
You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Look for it later today. I'm going to write an article on if the Buccaneers bring back Leonard Fournette, draft the first round, second round running back.
Hughs.
I'll give you credit.
I don't need credit for that.
I'll give the Chiefs seats credit.
Yeah, I don't need that. I'm joking about that one.
No, but it was good. It's a good point. If they do, because if you look at these drafts, there's a running back mocked to them in almost the first and second round in almost every draft.
But it's not just
both in
that.
mine. I both have taking Javonte Williams in my first. I have them taking Michael Carter in the second. And now, if you're bringing back Leonard Fournette and you have Vaughn on the roster too, Rojo could catch you a fourth round pick or a fifth round pick or a third round pick next year. And now you're obtaining more assets to help fill up the team.
That's what I'm meaning is, guys. That's what I was trying to say. That there are players that we're used to. There are players whose names we know that maybe we've grown to appreciate. That there's no way around it, guys. At some point, somebody's going, and cut day is going to be. I promise you this, guys. I will tell you right now, cut day is going to be nerve-wracking because. Keep in mind, remember what it was like last year when that whole we all started to like certain rookies? And remember Joshua was interviewing certain rookies that were coming on the shows, and it was, we kind of grew attached to certain players. Guys, this one's gonna hurt. This year is going to hurt. Yeah, it's gonna hurt worse this year. And understand, guys, that's part of what's coming, and it's okay. That's a reflection of the fact that this is an amazing freaking football team. So get used to it and get ready for it because we've got so much to be excited about. Every day I'm clicking on Bucs Report, and I'm not doing this. Listen, man, I'm doing this because Me, I'm not the one writing this crap. I mean, Joshua's the brilliant guy in the room here who's getting the stuff done, right? These are the guys who are behind the scenes. That I'm sitting there. I'm clicking, I'm just waiting to see what are they going to tell me next? What are they going to teach me next? Because I'm not the guy who's I'm not the analyst. That's not me. And it's fun because there's so much constantly happening with a team that's this good. Guys, I was watching NFL Network this morning, and they were saying, yeah, the Bucs are going to repeat. Now, that may not happen, and everybody, I know it sets expectations, and listen, the Patriots did not win every year. Contrary to what your memory may tell you, the Patriots did not win the Super Bowl every year. As a matter of fact, there are more years that Brady did not win the Super Bowl than years that he won. Now, it seems like it's the other way around, but it's a fact that Brady and the New England Patriots lost more years than they won the Super Bowl. Okay, they didn't go or lost in the Super Bowl. I think this was Brady's 20th year. He won his 7th. This was number 7. Okay, so guys, it's numbers. You can have a great year. You can be a great team. You can be freaking phenomenal and get a bad bounce. Things happen, and I'm not trying to curse the team. I'm trying to be realistic and say this is the part that hurts when you're good, is you have to say goodbye to some players that you don't want to say goodbye to. There are things that happen because you're getting even better. And this team has so much in front of them. And that's the fun part of all of this, is there is a core and a nucleus. While we talk about Brady, while we talk about Suh, while we talk about JPP, there is a young core nucleus of this team that's here and in place for years. So get ready for a ride, not just this year, not just next year. We got a ride in front of us. And if you've been through the crap the Bucs fans have been through, guys, hallelujah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a good time. Johnny, you've experienced the hell.
Yeah. Let me ask Joshua something. When you were a Patriots fan, before you came over to the dark side, sir, who was the player that you guys lost that really hurt you the most?
There are a couple of them. I mean, do you want to talk about like Mike Vrabel leaving? Vince Wilfork was a big one. Vince Wilfork leaving the Patriots was like, ouch. But there's definitely been a couple of the guys that, you watch them, they build these Super Bowl teams, and then, they leave for whatever reason, and it definitely hurts.
So you can relate exactly to what Rick was just saying.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to happen. I mean, it's just, look at Peter. Peter's going to cry. I'm not. I almost went there. Into what he's going to cry into.
I'll say it. You don't have to. When the victim of volume is no longer a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, it's going to hurt Peter. Okay?
The victim of volume is going to be the victim of cut day.
Well, one of these days. Yeah, by the way, George Calderon, he just said 7-3 in Super Bowl losses to Giants, twice, and Eagles. You're missing my point, George. I'm saying Brady, during that time, during those 7 wins in Super Bowls, there were 13 years he did not win the Super Bowl, or 12 years he did not win the Super Bowl.
Crazy.
Okay? So, sometimes they didn't even go. Okay? Right. It's not like the Patriots sucked. So I'm just saying it's not a foregone conclusion that the Bucs are going to the Super Bowl.
I gotta head out.
Okay,
but I got pro days to do. I'm gonna interview some of these prospects, find out if they're talking to the Bucs or not. Give you more content.
Awesome.
Hey, this was awesome. I love doing these pop-up shows, especially when news like this breaks.
Yeah, this was awesome.
It was a good time, definitely, for sure, going back and forth and, getting the numbers and the scenarios and everything like that out to the fans, because that's what we're here for, to give these guys content that they deserve. So
absolutely.
And what's the name of your show?
What?
What's the name of that show you're on?
The Audible. Catch me on the Audible starting next Thursday. In the meantime, follow me on Twitter at Joshua_C_Allen, at BucsReport.com for all the great content. I got some articles out there right now, including my mock draft. Go on there, leave a comment on the website. Tell me what you think about it. Roast me, praise me, tell me that you hate me, whatever you want to do. Also, guys, Locker Room. If you're not on the Locker Room app on iOS, it's available right now for iOS. It's a great place to go and talk your favorite sports teams. You can start a room yourself, or you can join created rooms. You can interact with athletes, media personnel, myself, and a boatload more stuff that's going on there tonight. Around, I want to say 8:30, 9 o'clock, I'll be doing another mock draft. Pretty much we get on there, we go on one of these mock draft sites, and we do a mock draft together. So,
Awesome.
pick 32 comes up, and we'll discuss our options there, whether we want to trade back or take the player available. It's a lot of fun. So get on that. The Locker Room app on iOS now, coming to Android soon. With that, Rick, thank you again for having me on. Johnny,
Trade
always
back.
a pleasure to talk to you. And
Trade back. Trade back.
Trade back.
Trade back.
Let's go, Bucs. Catch me on the Audible.
Have a good one.
Josh.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Russell Weeks. Russell, I agree with you. I can't remember or have heard of a team that has done what the Bucs are doing when it comes to keeping a team fully intact, especially a Super Bowl winning team. It's just unheard of. It really, really is just unheard of. We were fortunate to not have cap problems like the Saints and Rams, etc. We weren't fortunate. We were smart. The Bucs didn't trip and end up with in this cap situation. This is how they ran the team versus the way the choices that were made and everything that the Saints and Rams that they did.
I can say we were fortunate too, because we were fortunate that we had players willing to work with the team like that, and that's very rare, dude. That is not something you see across the league.
No, but again, I think it's a product of the fact that there's the lower salary cap this year and not places for people to go, and that's what I mean by the Bucs catching a break again.
If somebody mentioned the Saints did an incredible job getting rid of their $100 million over the cap thing. They didn't do a great job because they got rid of a ton of players.
No, I actually disagree, Johnny. I think they did a great job. It could have been a bloodbath, and it was not a bloodbath. They managed. They made decisions that hurt. They're not going to be as good, but they did not. That could have decimated this team, and it did not.
They had Drew Brees walk out.
Not because of the salary.
Wait a minute. Drew Brees gave him a friendly little gift on the cap before he left the team.
Yes.
So that was fortunate for them.
Right. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. They did a good job with stuff like that. They managed on how they were gonna. He didn't just. By the way, Drew Brees again didn't just give away the money. Drew Brees is getting paid next year. He's just not playing.
Yes. That's what I said. He gave him a gift. I didn't say he was taking his money back.
Well, right. So I mean, they did a good job, just like the Bucs did with voidable years and blah blah blah. They did a good job working the cap and doing what was necessary to get this stuff done. I'll give the Saints credit. I hate them. I don't like them, but I'll give them credit for a situation that could have. They could have been one of the worst teams in the league this year, and everybody would have said, "Yeah, well, the salary cap thing, they had to start over." They didn't. Okay, yeah, they have to start over because they're one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, just retired. Okay, but they're not going to be a pushover, guys. Don't think this division. Don't think the Bucs are just going to walk all over the Saints next year. This is not a bad team.
I've been preaching to people. It wasn't Drew Brees that made the Saints in the first place. It was that defense of theirs and their offensive line, which is still intact.
Agreed. So that's why I say, yeah, they did a good job considering the situation they were in. They did a good job.
But they did lose a lot. They lost a lot that they had relied on before. But they've drafted well for the last 20 friggin' years too.
Yep.
So they have depth to fill a lot of the spots.
Yep. All right, Johnny, I'm going to close this pop-up show out, and I guess tonight I'm not sure if it's 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I have no idea. I don't know. I think it's 8:30 tonight. Is the over/under with Harry the Greek?
I think Peter said 9 o'clock.
Okay, 9 o'clock. The over/under with Harry the Greek. And so you guys can check. If there's any more breaking news, we'll pop on and off throughout the day. But I think that's it. You got anything you want to say on the way out the door?
Go Bucs. Later on.
Later on. All right, guys. So I want to finish this out with one final thing, as we always do on Live from the Cheap Seats. Let's go ahead and close this out with, and then there's this. All right, guys, listen, bottom line, I hear criticism about, oh, no, they shouldn't have given money to Donovan Smith. You know, what's Jason Light thinking? Oh, no, what are they doing? They're mortgaging the future for the Buccaneers. They're, you know, this team, everybody's complaining. You complain about the Glazers. You complain about Jason Light. We complain about Byron Leftwich. Let's recap. The Glazers, Daddy brought us one Super Bowl. The kids have brought us one Super Bowl. We're looking down the gut of another Super Bowl. Okay? Who knows whether we get one or not, but we're there. Okay? We've got the quality team to get there. So everybody get off of their case. The Glazers have done a very good job. Stop whining, bitching, and moaning, saying they're cheap. No, they're not. If you don't see that in front of your face, now you're wrong. People who said, oh, the only reason you're signing this old quarterback is because you want to sell jerseys. Well, they sold a whole lot of jerseys and won a Super Bowl. And again, they're looking down the gut of another one. Jason Light, look at this freaking roster. Stacked top to bottom. Bringing back everybody. Have you ever heard of a Super Bowl team bringing back everybody? I've never heard of it. So, guys, get off of Jason Light. Get off of his, get off his back. Stop saying he's made bad decisions. Yeah, he did. He's not perfect. He has been anything but perfect. And when he has failed spectacularly. When he has succeeded spectacularly. We're lucky to have this team. We're lucky to have these coaches. Byron Leftwich. Best 2 years of this team ever offensively under Byron Leftwich. So, guys, the people you're critical of just brought you a Super Bowl, and they're looking down the barrel of another one. Enjoy it. Cheer. Be happy. This is the fun part, guys. This is the fun part. Go Bucs.